we can all hear it. Test, test, test. Hello, hello. I'm invoking my right to remain silent and not incriminate myself. So, first off, do we have any under 18s here? Awesome. Well, not mentally, I mean physically. Are you actually 18 years old? Okay. So, thank you very much for coming on a Sunday afternoon. I know you have a whole suite of talks that you could come go see, and I'm very honored that you came to see me yammer to you for a few minutes. This talk is, well, it was going to be called Practical Open Source Intelligence, or Osint, but now it's more like Offensive Osint. And this talk's going to be kind of a little bit of a hybrid. The first half, I'm actually going to talk a little bit about tools that are kind of bleeding edge, or at least are tools that I find a lot of OSINT professionals aren't using and really should use. And then the second part, we're really going to get into offensive OSINT. And you'll see what I mean by offensive, as in it is offensive and it's kind of offensive. So, a little about me. I've been in InfoSec since 1989. Holy crap, that's way too long to be in this industry. I own a company called Tactical Intelligence. We're based in Canada. We're a boutique InfoSec firm. I somehow want to work in the word artisanal, because that seems to really be the hip new phrase now. We're an artisanal boutique firm. And we do like competitive information gathering, investigation. We're an InfoSec firm, but we specialize in finding information on people that they probably don't want you to know about. And I also run the threat intelligence program for a Fortune 1000 company. I'm not going to tell you which one it is, but if you have Google or LinkedIn, you can find it very quickly. What? Probably. And please let me point out, they in no way have anything to do with what I'm about to talk about today. You know, they would be mortified if they thought that, trust me, this is stuff I'm doing on my own with tactical intelligence. No relation to my day job. I'm a fair to middling social engineer. I'm writing a book on OSINT for No Starch Press. And as you will see, I have super duper awesome PowerPoint skills. So. Yeah! I like them apples. Whoop. That's the only transition. I was like, yeah, it's in there. Right? I was trying to get the other way. So if you, heads up, right off the top though, in the original abstract, I was going to be releasing a transform for Maltego. Not going to happen. If you're here for the transform, please make your way to the exits. I received a cease and desist from a company whose name shall remain nameless, big social media company. I will be releasing it soon, but with an API key version that's legit and doesn't crawl and break terms of service and that sort of stuff. But yes, lawyers suck. Sorry, Brendan. And then in its place, so what I'm going to show you, and I kind of hadn't intended on presenting it this early because it's not completely mature, but I'm going to I'm going to demo what we call C2 Ceiling Cat, which is an open source intelligence program and quasi framework that we will be releasing parts of. Warning. So, there is going to be sexual content in this presentation. It's not... You pervs, meet me after. It is not gratuitous, and it does relate directly to the presentation. No, it's not goatsy. I'm not throwing stuff up in there. But so if there's kids in the room, which we've established, you should remove them. And if you are offended by this sort of material, please leave. And no judgment, no harm, no foul. I understand some people have serious issues with that content, and please feel free to leave, and I will not be offended in any way. Okay, so real quick outline of what the talk is going to be is, is there like a timekeeper or something so I know who's the timekeeper? Okay, so can you let me know like every 15 minutes or whatever you do. So real quick outline, we're going to do what is OSINT, right? The traditional song and dance. Why OSINT? Tools you should use, offensive OSINT, and then we're going to start talking about extortion-based open source intelligence, which is the fun stuff. And then I'm going to do a little demo with Ceiling Cat. So what is Osint? Well, I'm assuming most of you know, because it's kind of like, the unhip hotness. And we in the hacker community have a very different definition of what Osint is compared to what the military does, and they're kind of the guys that coined the phrase, so it's kind of funny. We've bastardized it. We've adopted the phrase and bastardized it completely. But the Department of Defense, or Department of National Intelligence, or whatever, DoD, God, I should not have had that shake, it defines OSINT as, quote, data that is produced from publicly available information that is collected, exploited, whatever that means, and disseminated in a timely manner to an appropriate audience for the purpose of addressing a specific intelligence requirement. Thank you, Wikipedia. They don't include, in their definition, things like signal intelligence, rumor intelligence, which is kind of a cliche word, human intelligence, technical intelligence, that sort of stuff. So if you look at their definitions, the military's definitions, they have like human intelligence, right, which is like espionage, right, secret squirrel type stuff, talking to NGOs, observing stuff, patrols, what do patrols see, debriefing travelers, right, the one-on-one human interaction. They don't include that as open source intelligence. Geospatial intelligence, GeoInt, right? Satellite photos, aerial photography, that sort of stuff, mapping terrain data. They don't include that. Image intelligence, right? Stuff that we gather from satellite and aerial photography, kind of like GeoInt. And then open source intelligence, which they say it can be further segmented by the source type. It's internet, general, scientific, technical, going to trade shows, going to tech conferences, that sort of thing. Signals intelligence, right, which is the interception of signals, whether between people or devices, that sort of thing. Communications intelligence, electronics intelligence, telemetry intelligence, right? And you've seen a lot of this. Who here saw 0x Bad Ideas talk at DEF CON about the radios? Yeah, it was kind of a fun talk, right? So, so electronic intelligence is that sort of thing, where they're grabbing signals, non-communication signals from devices, and technical intelligence, financial intelligence, that sort of thing. They all break this down into its own various type of intelligence gathering. We in the hacker community say, fuck it, screw it. It's all OSINT, right? I mean, because for us, we're grabbing most of it from the interwebs, right? So we basically go to various data aggregators and various data sources. This thread is driving me nuts. Or we grab it for ourselves via crawling websites and violating terms of service and that sort of stuff. So, but basically, we bastardize the terminology, but we're kind of looking for the same stuff. We just wrap it up under one moniker. So why open source intelligence? I mean, and I hear a lot of people, wow, OSINT, what a waste of time, blah, 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 not true hacking, and blah, 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 blah. The reality is, if you do open source intelligence gathering properly, it lets you gather ginormous amounts of data on a target without ever sending a single packet their way. Well, you sending a single packet, right? You basically allow all these other people to enumerate and grab this data, but you're kind of silent running. They never see you until it's too late, right? So the purpose of open source intelligence, at least within our field, is basically to optimize your attack, right? So if it's a network or application attack or a kinetic, physical, or social engineering attack, basically we want to reduce the noise that we make, right? We want to be able to go in and be one hit, the kill shot, just go in and nail them. So, if let's say we do profiling, we profile our target, and just as an example, I just picked out, like password cracking, knowledge-based authentication, optimization, social engineering. So stuff we can grab, right? Like pet names, year of birth, significant others or relatives' names, sports teams, religious stuff, place of birth, favorite food, all this crap, all this stuff that you can use. So when you're saying, well, I'm making my password list. Well, I know the guy's a Broncos fan. Poor sucker. Let me pick a list of appropriate passwords, right? Instead of just doing brute forcing everything, we can really, really reduce the number of attempts that we need to make. And we can really maximize our efficiency and our chances of success with every single item of information we gather, if we process it properly. So Osint can be devastatingly effective. I mean, again, I had these guys at Black, you're teaching Osint, I'm going to lose a course. Well, kind of a funny story. There were some guys teaching pen testing courses, and I was teaching this Osint course. And on the last day, well, at the end of one of the days of the course, I gave my class an assignment. I said, "Well, guys, pick a company you want to pick." So they went, "You know what? How about Halliburton?" I said, "Hells yes, why not? Right? Let's go." They only had 45 minutes because I kind of dawdled, and we were at the end of the day. I said, "Well, 45 minutes. Let's see what you can get." So I broke them into 6 teams of 5 people, and off they went. 45 minutes, only using Osint. They discovered over 100 vulnerable running services, thousands, plural, of employee social security numbers, date of birth, email addresses, home addresses, credit card numbers, black site locations, i.e. locations they own and operate but do not have really documented anywhere, but we were able to find them. And again, they found this without sending a single packet to Halliburton. Bingo. Oh, and passwords. Did I mention passwords? Yeah, passwords. Kind of impressive, right? If you want, you can sit at your terminal at 3 in the morning, banging away, and going, I'm going to use my elite 0-day exploit to pop this box, and well, that's very good for you. Or I'm going to run my scripts. I'm going to come in. I'm going to type in the password I know exists, and I'm in. Done. I now have 7.5 hours of playtime, whereas you have 8 hours of work. Do the math. I mean, if you're lazy like me, Osint is the way to go. So it's good and it's bad, though. The problem is all these sites are constantly changing their terms of service because, well, crazy concept. Now in Silicon Valley, they're realizing we actually need to make money, which up till now really has not been a concern for a lot of these companies in Silicon Valley, right? So what we've seen is a lot of free tools or readily available data sources become paid sources, or they're bought out and acquired and buried, whatever. Another problem is, and we encounter this all the time with social media sites, is APIs change all the time. And anti-crawling mechanisms get put in place all the time. So you'll basically see tools break constantly. And it's kind of funny, if you actually do, go back 5 years and look at tools, Osint tools from 5 years ago, then 4 years ago, then 3 years ago, and you'll see they break. This is just a progression of, well, this tool broke, and the author's just, I can't bother maintaining it, it's gone. And this is usually because, right, the API changes or, some of the anti-crawling stuff that goes in place. So. And it's really important. I've talked to a lot of these guys that run these tools, and I'm like, really, it's broken? I didn't know. Nobody told me. So it's kind of like if you see something, say something, right? It's really, really important. If you run a tool and it's busted, right? If you're running Recon NG or you're running, the Harvest or whatever, and it doesn't work, contact the author. Because a lot of the times they're not aware of it until somebody squawks. And it's kind of amazing to them how few people actually squawk. But the good news is there are always new tools coming along. And especially as people start realizing the lift you can get from open source intelligence and, the amount of data that's out there and how it's really easy to harvest a lot of this stuff. And best of all, you can always roll your own tool too, right? So why not? So what I want to discuss today, before we get into some of the juicy stuff, is, how am I doing time? Are some of the Osint tools that can make your life a lot easier. So search engines, right? I'm going to talk to you, first off, about Yandex. Who here uses Yandex? Yeah, okay, this is my point. Right, like one guy. Yandex is Russia's largest search engine. Yes, it is a great search engine. You will use it. It is great. It is the 4th largest search engine in the world. It is awesome. I mean, it's total awesome sauce. It gives you it gives you the greatest granularity with search operators of any search engine out there. And yet, very few InfoSec people use it. Why? Well, it's Russian and America, right? Yeah, hell, screw them rusky bastards. Use it, and I'll show you why. So, like Bing or Google, it supports a lot of the standard commands, right? So interl, cite, link, lang, parentheses, searches, Boolean searches, all that sort of stuff. Like Bing, it uses the bash, or not the bash, what do you call the up-down pipe? Thank you. I'm having my DerbyCon hangover here. Wildcards. And my personal fave, the plus operator that Google deprecated for whatever ungodly reason they did. So let's start with some of these quick operators. So Yandex, the plus sign, right? Who remembers the plus sign in Google? And who wept when it went away, right? Wasn't that the most awesomest, right? And they took it. To this day, I weep. I'm like, God, Google, why did you take away my plus operator? Well, Yandex heard my prayers, and they put it back in, right? So if you put in a search, kitten plus mayor, mayor must appear on that page, right? So it forces the word that you have the plus in front of to be in that page. If it's not there, no results. So the Yandex, I'm not sure what the squiggly mark is, the tilde, I think it's called, right? So in Yandex, the double tilde is the not operator. So it's kind of interesting. So if you put like New York, double tilde city, it will return web pages with New and York, but not the word city. If it's got the word city, out. So, and the interesting thing to note too is with the Yandex operators, you can actually have a space between the operator and the phrase. Now, the single tilde is interesting. It only returns sentences that exclude a keyword, right? So ice tilde cream will return web pages containing any sentences containing ice but not cream. So the pages can still have ice and cream. It just can't be in the same sentence, right? Now the and or the ampersand and the double ampersand, that's the ampersand, right? No, yeah, what? The and sign. As you can tell, I did not do very well in my English class. The and or the ampersand operator specifies that basically specified keywords must appear in the same sentence, right? So yang and yang will say it needs to be in the same sentence. If you put a double ampersand, it says that both words have to appear on the page, but must. So it's kind of like the double plus, but they can't, not in the same sentence. Now we start to get into some of the more interesting operators. So the slash number operator is really cool. And this is basically Yandex equivalent of Google's around and Bing's near proximity search operators. People familiar with that? Very powerful operators. And basically specifies how close together two keywords must be. So if you go ice/3 cream, it says, well, ice and cream have to be within 3 words of each other. And it doesn't matter one in front of the other or whatever, you know, as long as they're there within 3 words of each other. However, if you add a plus after the slash, you can specify that the 2 words must be in the same order. So ice/+2 cream will say that the word ice has to precede the word cream by no more than 2 words. So if cream appears before ice, no dice. Ooh, that rhymes. That's pretty good. If you use a negative number, this is kind of cool. It will only return results where the second keyword appears X positions before the first. So cream/-1 ice will return pages with ice cream, but not cream ice, right? So you're starting to see kind of how powerful this is. We can specify phrases we want, and so some variants of, you know, confidential internal use only, or not for public release, or that sort of thing. You can munge quite clearly, because a lot of companies, they'll use different verbiage for the same kind of words, but same kind of phrases. But we know that specific words are going to be in the mix, but perhaps within, you know, different word counts. But we can take it even farther than that. So they let you specify boundaries within which words can appear through the slash brackets x, y operator, or no, comma, xy operator. So this allows you to specify the left and right offset of the second keyword from the first. So ice/brackets -2 +3 cream will return results where cream precedes ice by no more than 2 positions, or appears no more than 3 after ice, right? Still not over. So you can also add the slash with the double ampersand, okay? And this basically forces the keywords to be within a certain number of sentences of each other. What was that? So ice cream and then double ampersand /2 sandwich basically will only return web pages where ice cream is within 2 sentences of the word sandwich. Can you tell I was hungry when I wrote these slides, by the way? Are you craving ice cream? So like with Google and Bing, the words could be in either direction of each other. And then there's the exclamation operator, which basically instructs Yandex to only return the exact form of the word provided. So if I want the word cat, but not catalog or catastrophe or whatever, I would put bang cat. And then the double less than sign, I guess. Caret sign. Okay. I thought the caret sign was the straight up. Yeah, what are you doing, man? Shunned. I've been watching way too much Amish Mafia, you can tell, right? So this operator basically allows you to tag on additional search terms without impacting on the ranking of your search, right? So Yandex calls it a non-ranking and, which is kind of a cool way to do it. So if I said, I want spare ribs and sauce, but you know what? Throw Scotland into the mix for whatever reason. It won't actually penalize the page or change its rank if the word Scotland comes in, but it will throw it into the mix. So, it will say, it will keep, it's basically its original ranking without penalizing for throwing in that additional word. And then there's a title keywords operator, which is basically the Yandex equivalent of InTitle, returns only pages whose title contains the keywords. MIME file type is essentially the file type operator, but that's the way they do it. Crazy Russians. So if I do MIME :PDF and my site NASDAQ, it's just going to give me all PDFs from the NASDAQ site. And then there's the date operator. So this lets you set specific search windows, so you can utilize the date command. So like you can, as you can see, I don't need to really verbalize it. But again, you can really get really granular with these operators really easily. And then there's the domain operator, and that basically says I want the TLD. It just results from TLD. So if I put parrots, domain, CA, it's only going to return results on parrots from Canadian websites. Never actually ran that search. I'm pretty sure it's not that high. So I really recommend it. Check out the Yandex API. Go to api.yandex.com. They've got an extremely comprehensive list of APIs for a whole suite of Yandex products. Use it. If you're going to do Osint and you're not using Yandex, you're missing out. Another new kid on the block, and it just started like, I think a month ago, is nerdydata.com. Anyone had a chance to play with Nerdy Data? Really? Wow! This is bleeding edge. Okay, cool. They call it a search engine for source code. And what's really cool is, unlike other search engines that index content, Nerdy Data indexes the HTML, the JavaScript, the CSS, and the plain text of over 140 million sites, and it's growing every day. And their pitch is, give us any keyword or code snippet, and we'll return you a list of websites that contain it. So this is taking Google hacking to a whole new level, right? So we can basically say if a target uses a specific Google Analytics account ID or a specific JavaScript library, you can say, give me the list of every website that has that in it, which can be very powerful. And it's also really nice to track backlinks as well. So if you're looking for relationships between organizations or people, perfect tool. I would almost say that Nerdy Data is going to make Google hacking obsolete. Because instead of analyzing URLs or text within websites, we can actually now query the markup, which is pretty cool. Right? So let's say I want to see everything, right, that just said basically everything that's not WordPress 3.6.1 is vulnerable, right? Well, say, okay, well, here's my command. Do meta name equal generator content equals WordPress 3.5. It will return every website running 3.5. So let me do real quick. What the hell? Where'd it go? Maybe I won't do a quick demo. Oh, it's over here. Why in the world? So let's just do this real quick. Oh, stop. Dope. Mad PowerPoint skills, man. I was being ironic. You do realize that, right? So let's see what we get. Fingers crossed, please. Onto let this. Oh, stop. DerbyCon. Log in. Oh, you bastard from hell. Yeah, what would help if I was actually plugged in, wouldn't it? newfangled computers. No, I tested this blue one before. Don't bust my chops, Brandon. I know where you live. All right, let me get in here. Log in, por favor. Okay. Please work. All right, so it's digging out, looking for all the WordPress 3.5 sites, and bang, 440,000 sites were, right? So isn't this nice? Oh no, this rocks. I mean, this is like crack for Osint guys, right? It's crack for pen testers. I mean, life has just become a lot easier. I mean, I cannot recommend the site better than this. I mean, it's fantastico. All right. So let's say I want to find websites that have an upload form, and I'm taking these examples straight from their blog, by the way. It's not like I went, let me. They said, hey, look at this. I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. Into my slides. I am a lazy, lazy man. Yeah, they're going, what the hell's going on? So let's say, go. What? Yes, I will be. So you don't have to take copious notes. But so I wanted to see everything that had max file size, that we're uploading stuff, and it came up with 10,682 that have this particular file upload within it. And so on. I mean, basically, Google hacking is dead. Long live Google hacking. And the same thing, if I want to do an Envision PowerBoard thing, I could do that. Ooh, I'm running out of time. Okay. At your will, play with it. It's fun. And now Nerdy Data has a basic and paid service. The basic service only gives you like 200 queries. You can't download stuff. You can't save queries. If you do the premium thing, there's a bunch of different tiered packages. You also get access to what's called the refining tool, which lets you kind of slice and dice and be way more elegant with your searches. But check it out. Search.nerdydata.com or just nerdydata.com. All right, Recon NG. Who here actually saw Tim Tomes' talk on? Okay, I'm not going to retread. Fantastic tool, though, right? I don't know if you guys have used it or not. Great tool. Is Tim here? Fine. I'm not pimping his stuff anymore. Fantastic tool. Lots of modules. I was going to demo it, but I don't have time. So check it out, reconnng.com. He just bought the domain. He's very happy. He started to give me, oh, yeah, it's on GitHub. No, wait, I just bought it. So recon-ng.com. Works just like the Metasploit framework, same command structure, that sort of thing. Check it out. It's constantly being revised. And this was his tip to me. Do a git pull every time you run it, because he's changing it all the time. So, Tapir. Great new tool. It's not released yet. Jonathan Cran, J Cran on Twitter. Great little tool. I'm going to do a real quick run through. It's basically the web-based version of Maltego. It's still kind of rough around the edges, but the stuff he's done and some of the stuff that he's doing, and I've seen some of the demos that he's run, really cool. You can run it hosted on his site, or you can run it locally. It's at github.com/pentestify. Best name ever. It's a work in progress, but very close to release. Let's do a real quick demo of it. So, demo.tapirrecon.com. Get started. I'm already logged in. So what I'm going to do, basically, I'm going to make a new project. Who should we profile? Company? Anyone? Oh, Halliburton? How about that? What the hell? Dick Cheney's not in the room, is he? Monsanto? Yeah, well, we're not going to get too deep because the clock is a-ticking. Monsanto. Douchebags. All right. So we activate the project. And then what we will do is, so like a Multigo, people familiar with Multigo? Another great tool to use. If you're doing Osint and you're not using Multigo, you're doing it wrong. Well, like I say, there's all these new tools, so not necessarily. So we're in Activate. I'm going to make a new entity. If it comes back, let's say we want to do a search string. We'll create. What's my time? What are we at right now? Jesus. Oh, here we are over here. Do wait. Stop it. It's a search string. What the hell's in craps? Oh, well, you know what? I didn't actually put anything into the string, that's why. So let me get back to my entity. Come on. Come on. Very slow. My search string. Blow it away. So entity, make my new entity. It's going to be a search string if it ever comes up. All right, so let's say Monsanto, update the search string. Okay. Let's look at what we did back. Let's do a Google search of that string. Really am running out of time. So you can see, so it comes back, right? So it does a DNS record, some search results, and you can basically start picking which of these we want. So you know what? I really don't care about what Wikipedia has to say. Naturalnews.com, probably not going to be what I'm looking for. Probably not pro Monsanto, I'm guessing. From organic consumers, definitely not going to be what I want. So we just get rid of these. So let's say, okay, we've got Monsanto.com. Stop it. Who's texting me right now? So let's do a subroot. Although I'm on www, that probably won't work. Yeah. Let me go back. But you can see, actually, did you see that where it tried to brute force a ton of different subdomains? Oh, and you can see the entities here. You can see your task. You can run Nmap. You can do a ton of different things. I really, unfortunately, did not really do this presentation in front of a clock before. Test it out. Just go play with it. Ping jcran on Twitter for an account. But basically, it's the same as Multigo. You create entities. You run transforms on the entities. The transforms are basically just the pull down things you can do. But you can, Nmap. You can brute force. You can do just a ton of different things. I mean, it's really a great tool. It is a work in progress. It is going to get prettier as he works on it. But yeah, let's say, okay, let's do a Hoover's company search on Monsanto, by the way, right? And so you can see, right, the stuff that's going on. So it's a pretty cool tool. He's looking for people to beta test it. Please reach out to him. Really good promise there. And now I can't get back into slideshow mode. Okay. What the hell, some crabs? Oh, okay. Well, I was in. So I just did my Tapir demo. And that is what a tapir looks like, by the way. They're those freaky stub-nosed big things. OpenBMap.org is another thing that's pretty cool. It's a crowdsourced wireless mapping site. It also, so when I say wireless, it maps Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and cellular antennas. Although CDMA and LTE sites, the data acquisition is still a bit wonky. They're working on it. As of last night, it contained data from 194 countries, 631 networks, 36,353 location area codes, 435,071 cells, of which 134,000 are trusted. I'm not exactly sure what they mean by trusted, but whatever. They're able to grab Wi-Fi data from 66 countries, 654,000 plus Wi-Fi access points. It's really a cool thing. You can download the client onto your phone, Android, iPhone, I don't think BlackBerry, sorry guys. You can download all the data directly. It's a ginormous file, but you can grab the cellular or the Wi-Fi, and for some reason I posted the same link, all right, because I'm a moron. This is basically what the Wi-Fi file looks like. You can see this at the top. The first entry is the phone or the device that uploaded the data, and then you can see like the GPS time, and then you see the Wi-Fi AP, the BSSID, the MD5 BSSID, and then basically the SSID and the type of security that's running, that sort of thing. It's really cool. It even shows you like the altitude, the long lat, all that stuff, and it's a completely searchable database as well. So if you have a pen test or you know your location stuff, you can query this for wireless access, wireless devices in that area, including Bluetooth, which can be very helpful. Okay, last warning. We're about to get into the really hot and sweaty stuff, so if you're offended, please leave. 3, 2, 1, all right, let's get it on. So before we get into this, I do want to issue a plea. I've been working in this area for a couple years. It's a very, very niche area, okay? If you want to work in this area, I obviously can't force anyone to, but please, I'm begging you, coordinate with me. Because it's a really teeny tiny pool, and if everybody starts peeing in it, the source is going to be polluted really quickly, and it's going to become useless. Ethics. Yes. Ethics in a hacker conference, I know. Look, the reality is, some of the stuff we're about to discuss could really ruin someone's life. It could ruin their marriage, make them lose their job, even worse, make them show up at your front door with a shotgun, right? So tread carefully. This research was done for equal parts lulz, equal parts proof of concept. Tread carefully. Most important, don't be a dick, which is a great guide just for living life anyway, right? So anybody remember Jason Fortuny a few years ago? No? So back in September 2006, this guy named Jason Fortuny posted a Craigslist ad, a very, very graphic Craigslist woman seeking male companion in the Seattle Casual Encounters board, seeking a straight, brutal dom, muscular male. And the ad was really, I'm sure some people are into that stuff. Obviously they are from the responses he got. It was really kind of a very, very aggressive, kind of messed up BDSM fantasy scenario. Well, messed up for me. Other people, I'm sure, it's like, that is so awesome. 178 men responded. 145 of them sent photos. And the responses included work, personal email, addresses, names, instant messenger screen names, telephone numbers. Right? Yeah. And what he did was he then published, unedited, all the responses on Encyclopedia Dramatica. Yeah. And people very quickly started piling on and go, hey, Dave, did you know that ad you responded to is up on the interwebs? So like a Microsoft worker got outed, right? Emailing casual encounters from your work email address, not recommended. FYI. Some ended up getting divorced. He got lots of death threats. I believe he had to move. And some people sued him and won. So I remember watching that, and I mean, it gave me some ideas. I'm thinking, how easy would it be to automate blackmail using open source intelligence? Right? Turns out the answer is quite easy. So, and again, another disclaimer. I really don't care what 2 or more consenting adults do to each other, right? In the privacy of their own homes or wherever, not on a public street. Government or media really shouldn't care. Neither should you. And sex is sex, and as long as nobody is getting hurt, unwillingly, live and let live, right? Sadly, that's not how the world works, though, right? We as a nation... I wish that was mine. I completely ripped that off the web. So that's not the way the world works. America, we're just titillated by this stuff, right? I mean, it's like, oh my God, this guy doing it. Get a grip, people. It's sex. But sex makes and breaks careers, especially politicians and people in the military and people in sensitive positions. So, FetLife. Anyone ever been on FetLife? This guy does. We got to talk after, my friend. So it's basically a social network for fetishists. They call it BDSM, and fetish community for Kinksters by Kinksters. As of last night, there were over 2.25 million users on that site. And it is a potential gold mine for Osint harvesting. Site is filled with OPSEC fail. I mean, just, take people's usernames on FetLife and run it through check username. And yeah, you can find their Facebook profiles, you can find their email address. It's really, really bad. So I was thinking, okay, well, how can I exploit this? So I selected a few different subforums. I'm like, okay, let's go into I like to wear poopy diapers and get spanked subforum, right? And I waited. I put a few, just regular posts up. Hey, how you doing? And a couple weeks in, then I put in, hey, if you're in my area, you should really, we should maybe meet up. Why don't you, connect with me on LinkedIn? Basically, what happened was if people were already logged into LinkedIn and they clicked my fake profile, I instantly was able to enumerate them, right? Because you can see, oh, everybody that clicked that link from that specific LinkedIn profile that was set only to the poopy diapers subforum, now I know that you, fellow LinkedIn member, are a poopy diaper being spanked fetish guy. Good to know if you're doing blackmail, right? LinkedIn trolling for the win. Remember this guy, Elliot Spitzer? He was busted for being with a lady of the night, right? Before, okay. So I started thinking, okay, well, Elliot. What can I do with Elliot's story? So I started checking out some prostitution sites for research only, Your Honor. So basically, the escort sites basically allow escorts to sell their wares. Sometimes if you put in that wares could be a typo, and it actually still works. You have to figure out what the typo is. Very low bar to creating an account. Basically, the bar to creating an account is a valid credit card number. And that makes sense, right? There's not, well, I'm from the National Institute of Prostitutes. Here's my certificate, sir. Basically they want, so you basically grab a pretty picture, you use a prepaid credit card, create an account, sit back and wait for the Johns to contact you. Harvest the info and profit. Basically, the level of the barrier to entry is you have to click the box that I am not a law enforcement officer, which, by the way, cracks me up because yeah, that will stand up in court. Well, Your Honor, you didn't tell me he was a policeman. So, yeah. But then I took it a bit farther. I was like, okay, that's fine, but that's kind of a bit of work. I need to put up the thing. I need to harvest people coming to me. So I started checking out these things that are called provider safety or deadbeat sites. And prostitution's a dangerous business, right? For obvious reasons. These ladies and men will often share information amongst each other about freaks, psychos, and what are called time wasters. To me, my time waster is a boss, but to them, it's like someone who harasses them. So basically, time wasters are people to call them up and talk and talk shit or don't show up or whatever. And gathering the information from these sites is pretty straightforward. Unsurprisingly, no API. You just need to scrape them. Important to remember, though, these are crowdsourced sites, so your mileage may vary. The reliability of the information could be suspect, although it's pretty unlikely, especially on the paid sites. So some of these sites require accounts or authentication or paid subscription. Those ones have a higher fidelity of data. But some are more wide open and much more suspect. Right, so for instance, you can almost always get the no-shows and the time wasters information for free. And a no-show or a time waster is still some guy who is answering an ad and calling out to hookers and bothered them enough that they decide, you know what, asshole, you're going in my database, right? That's all you really need if you're looking to exploit someone or, blackmail them. Which, by the way, I don't know if I said that. Let me straight up say, don't blackmail people, for the record. Okay? Just one second. What you find, though, is the providers have to pay for the dangerous John information, right? The time wasters, nobody really cares, but like the freaks, the guys that are very violent or do kind of cuckoo stuff, that's the information that these sites make people pay for. Still, like I said, the time wasters are people who are communicating with hookers, probably something they don't want their wife/employer/constituents knowing about. Right, Elliot? So there's a bunch of these sites. So let me just show you a couple of these. So let's do escort abuse. Working. Right off the bat. So no authentication. I just go to me. Oh, sorry. Yeah, turn that camera around, would you? Yeah. Well, off the screen. Yeah, sorry, Mr. Blank. We definitely do not want. Yeah, from this point on until later, we don't want anything being burned. What? Yeah. Oh, shh. There's no power, man. We're getting to the good stuff, and I'm losing my juice. Shit. All right, so we really do need to get some power. All right. But this is how easy it is. I mean, you literally go to that page, and all of a sudden, you're dumping out people's phone numbers, right? The city they're in, that sort of stuff, right? Phone numbers. Right? I mean, is that easy? Yes? Sorry, what? What did you say? Oh. Thank you. Yes. I haven't really looked. That was not really my interest. I guess I should, right? But yeah. I bet you will. It's legitimate research. I'm with you, bro. So you need an account to report, but not to search on that site. So then there's this one called Blacklisted John, which has a really nice search feature, and you can crawl the entire database. Problem is, for whatever reason, what the hell's and craps? Come on. Stop it. Come back. Shane, come back, Shane. Where'd it go? Oh, come on. Sorry, folks. So blacklistedjohn.com, here we go. Kind of the same thing. So are you blacklisted? Yeah, basically it says, you're fucked, dude. Pay us money or you're on the list forever. But you can search this one. So anybody here have a friend's phone number they want to search? That camera is off, right? I only got 5 minutes? Really? Shit. Okay. Anyway, you can search the database. Yeah, resource exhaustion. It just keeps dumping and dumping. Then there's a backpage blacklist. You can actually search for. You can wildcard a lot of stuff. This one lets you do searches, so you can do no-shows. You can search reports. There's incident reports, right? This is pretty spiffy, right? Nice little interface. I mean, this ain't your regular prostitution bulletin board. This is pretty high class, man. You're a security force online. And again, so you can search the time wasters for free. You can see the incidents, but like the really freaks, you got to pay for. Oh, wait a minute. Right. If you're in the EU, there's this one, safeinfo.com. This is pretty cool. So I'll show you just the sort of stuff you can grab real quick. Oh, God. Oh, damn it. I don't have time. You'll get license plate numbers, addresses, emails, everything. Same thing. Pretty cool. This is my favorite, though. This is called the nationalblacklist.com. They do things where you can say, I want reports. So they'll give you quick alerts, which is, hey, somebody just entered a new thing. Boink, you get it in your mailbox. You can get the newsletter. But what? Yes. Yes. And I'll just show you this real quick. So here we are in Louisville. What the hell's? So let's just see. We're in Kentucky. Let's pick Kentucky. Let's pick Louisville. Kentucky. Look at that. On the map. Who's the geographical wizard? That's right. Me, Mommy. Thank you. Now let's search Louisville. Yeah. And here's the thing, man. When I say they really don't give a rat's ass who you are, I used my name, Shane at tacticalintelligence.org, right? I mean, do 2 seconds and you say, yeah, I am not anymore. I'm not an escort. Right? So, Mr. Torres. Yeah, so, right, phone number. You'll get lots of addresses and that sort of thing, right? Yeah, you know, it's news you can use, I guess. But so, as you can see, this stuff is real easy to harvest. I mean, it's out there. And you can use this, obviously, for really bad things really easily. All right, let's move on to Grindr. Anybody know who a Grindr is? Brendan. Okay, Brendan is kind of... Brendan. Grindr, and possibly Brendan, is a geosocial mobile app for gay, bisexual, bi-curious men. Basically, it's an app, and it lets you... it will display other aficionados that are geographic close to you in proximity, right? So the closer you get to someone, the pictures will change. The profiles will change to show who you are. And it will even give you the proximity you are to them in feet. So you see a problem with that? Meet me downstairs in the bathroom. So wandering around a target's neighborhood, you may discover them in a closet. Oh, you can put this back onto the screen. Yeah. So, I mean, and that's it. And then Craigslist. Duh. So you'd think after Jason Fortuny did this and ruined all these people's lives, people would be wiser. Nope, not the case. It still works. I mean, I've written bots that will post stuff out, and the responses just flood in. The problem is the Craigslist casual ads have been taken over by bots that all link to dating sites and stuff like that. So it's kind of like bot versus the 1 in 1,000 post that actually happens to be a real live woman. But again, it's still surprising the number of responses you get. And yes, people still email from their work addresses. So, yeah, you can do it. All right, so real quick. So everybody, I mean, I'm sure you've seen this, right? Ceiling cat. This cannot be the first time you've seen this. So there was this meme: ceiling cat is watching you masturbate. Well, I was like, okay, good for ceiling cat. So basically, we wrote it's myself and my friend Akshat Agarwal, and we basically wrote this thing. It's a Twitter enumeration machine. It allows you to mine Twitter using regexes, and you can grab from the stream or from searches. Completely violates the terms of service. Oh wait, turn that camera off again? No, that's okay. I am coming up with an API version. It's a lot more limited. We're doing some geolocation as well. The way we're doing that is we're using the times of posts as one thing. And I don't know if you guys have seen Sleeping Time. You've seen that? Sleeping Time's kind of busted, and I don't have time to show you because we got too hung up on other stuff. But unfortunately, what Sleeping Time does, it says, well, this user ID sleeps from this hour to this hour. Unfortunately, it goes by the name. And if so, your name has to be something like Tim Smith or Bob Jones, right? There's a lot of those guys out there. So they all got wrapped up under 1 or 2 accounts. So it's kind of useless. So what we're doing is we're actually building an actual time per user build. So it's by username or by Twitter handle, not by their actual name. We're also doing it through stuff like weather reports. What we're doing is we're trying to correlate. Okay, 1 minute. Can we get 2 minutes? All right, and stuff like that. Reports is 3 minutes. All right, stuff like that. So we're working on that. It comes preloaded with modules. And I'll show you some of these real quick. But basically, the format is this. So if you want to put a comment, you put a hashtag in front of it. Quotes is an exact string. You can put brackets and God damn, I forgot the word again. What's the pipe? I'm having an aneurysm or whatever. If it's optional, you put a question mark. The bang is not, and that sort of thing. So if you want to see my horse, right? So that's basically the way you do it. And these modules are pre-populated with thousands and thousands of queries that we've used. So it has many uses. We started out to use it to identify breaking news, track specific topics, identify characteristics of users. And the end point of this tool is basically to hopefully enumerate and identify and profile every user on Twitter. Well, most users on Twitter. God, I don't know if I'm going to try real quick. So Python C2. I gotta we're almost done. Give me some time. So let's say lifestyle. So obviously we can do those things. What we've done is we've also made a list of things so we can profile exploitable information on people, right? So let's do this. We do that. I don't have time to do the output. So basically it runs, and I'll show you what a sample output is. Lifestyle. Right? So people that get hammered, they're smoking 420, looking for meth, right? All this stuff. It grabs it, puts it into an individual file for each user, builds it out, and basically will start weighting. So it says, yeah, this guy's really exploitable. This person's not exploitable. This guy's a goody two-shoes, to hell with him, right? That sort of thing. I will be putting this up online fairly soon. It's a really powerful tool to use, not just for blackmail, but you can use it for a bunch of different things. As you can see, that sounds horrible, I know. But as you can see, so we have everything from attitude, which says people that are upset at work, right, disgruntled employees, to lifestyle, which is, people doing bad things, financial, so you can basically do financial profile of them, location identities, that sort of thing. So you can identify where someone is in the world and usually who they are with enough digging down. I gotta get out of here, folks. I'm so sorry. Let me close out here. Come on, bitches. I can't even get out of this now. All right. That's it. I ran out of time. Thank you so much for coming. If you want to get in touch with me, you can get me on Twitter at tactical_intel. Thank you. Thanks, man. Oh, thanks.